name is Glenn Weinberg. I'm here with Steve from the Sessions Group, and we're going to be talking about what makes a good property manager. It's a concern to anybody who owns properties finding the right fit for property manager, and so Steve's going to take us through a number of points as to how to identify the best property manager for you.
Well, thank you, Glenn. It's fun to be with you today, and I think there are really seven areas that makes up a good property manager. One, I think you've got to be good looking, but a good property manager understands the big picture. They've got a historical perspective of the property, where it's been and where it's going. For example, parking is a big issue with a lot of properties. If the building occupancy increases, is there enough demand for or is there enough space for parking with that increased demand, or is there going to be a shortfall? You really need to understand your real estate. The second thing is a good property manager is effective and efficient. You can't be efficient with people. You can be efficient with paper and processes and computer work, but a good property manager is effective in communicating with individuals. They talk eye to eye, as we say, belly to belly. When you're dealing with your tenants, your owners, and your contractors, you really got to be effective in your communication. The third thing on the same note is managers need to spend effective time with their tenants. They need to understand their business. It's important to go out and do a property inspection. That's important, but it's not the number one priority. You need to go in and you need to have effective communication with your tenants. After all, they really are the lifeblood of your asset. Are there cars in the parking lot? Are people visiting their business? Or are they going to go out of business and go bankrupt? So it's important to have that time with the tenants. Fourth, managers really need to understand the financial objectives and goals of ownership. Is the owner looking to turn the property in a year or two, or are they a long-term player looking for a positive cash flow? And in this business, you deal with problems all the time, and so I think it's important that a property manager have a level head, be poised, and portray good demeanor. We recently wrote an article in the Colorado Real Estate Journal entitled, "Is there enough evidence to convict you?" If you go to court over a dispute, is there going to be enough evidence to convict you over that dispute? Well, a manager should ask themselves, is there enough evidence to convict them of being kind? Being kind doesn't mean being a pushover, but are you level-headed, are you poised, and do you portray good demeanor? The sixth thing that I think is important is ensuring compliance with the lease. The lease is the governing document, the constitution, if you will, that handles all the relations. So often managers are teaching the tenants clauses in their own leases. Many times when people sign a lease, they don't know what they're agreeing to. So it's important to understand, are there caps and operating expenses? Are there first rights of refusals? Are there reconciliations for utility expenses? You really need to understand your lease, and a good manager does. Lastly, Glenn, you own a lot of properties all over the place. It's important that a manager collect the rents on the first of the month every month. It's a huge burden on everybody when you're carrying expenses. At the same time, on the contrary, it's much more efficient and when rents are collected, and there's effective communication with everyone when you collect the rents on time. Those are some of my thoughts and what makes up a good property manager.
I would add one more, which I like about your firm, is experience. You don't want somebody on their first rodeo saying, oh, I can be a property manager. You want somebody who understands the asset classes, and the points that you made are exactly what we look for on our own properties that we own throughout the country as well. So that was great. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate you being here, and if you have any other questions, please feel free to visit sessionsllc.com or fairviewlending.com with Glenn Weinberg. And until next time, keep living the dream.